Hello again. So right now what I want to do is I want to show you how to hook up one of these ultrasonic rangers. Okay, this is the HCSR04. They're readily available. They're remarkably affordable. It's a 4-wire device. It's got one that's going to be 1 pin for voltage, 1 pin for ground, and then 2 pins dedicated to both a trigger which sends out an ultrasonic pulse, and then another one listening for the echo. Okay, and because sound travels at a pretty predictable rate depending on what media it is, through air or through solids or through liquids, we can then calculate the distance from the sensor to an object by measuring how long it takes for the sound to come from the emitter, strike the object, and echo back. We count it and then we calculate how long it takes. You can do that all manually. In fact, I do have another video showing that, which I can reference down below. But there are libraries available that do all the work for you. So you'll be able to actually just upload a library, which is actually what I'm going to start with today. So this is going to be for hooking up one of these ultrasonics to a Onebot, okay, which is Arduino based. And so the tutorial will work with any sort of Arduino base. Just the pins are going to be dedicated, that I talk about, are going to be dedicated to this board here. The first thing we have to do is we have to get the library. There's a couple places you can just search it. I've actually written my own library, which I like. And if you want to get it from me, you just go to my website, Patton Robotics, just pattonrobotics.com. And then if we go to sensors, we'll find the, oops, that's kind of off your page, but down here, there's the ultrasonic sensor. Click on details. And here is the library that I've written. So the first thing we have to do is we have to download the library, and it's right here, the ultrasonic library, HCSR04. We're going to download it. You can't see it, but it's downloading over here in my lower left, and it's already downloaded. Alright, so now we need to install this library into Arduino. So let's go back to Arduino, and let's go to include library, and then this has been working great. So let's just try to do it this way. I have another video that talks you how to manually include a library. It was a problem for me, at least on Windows 7 and maybe Windows 8, but Windows 10 has been working great, the latest versions. And we have to find it. I should have put it, it's going to be in downloads, my default. Oops, come on, open up. And it's just HCSR04. Okay, I downloaded it to it. I'm going to open it. And if all goes well, it was added. Okay, good. We should now be able to include a library. And if we scroll down here, and I wish, maybe I can move this in a way that you can see more of it. There we go. What I'm going to do now is scroll down until I find the library. There it is. Okay. And poof. Now I have included the library into the file. I'm going to pause this ever so briefly and open up an example, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so let's open up the example. I wanted to make sure it was there and refresh my memory as to which pins I had used. So we're going to now go to File. We're going to go to Examples. Okay? And you're going to scroll down in this Examples until you find the HCSR04, and I just called it Example. And lo and behold, we'll close that out. Save no. Here is the example file. So let me minimize this. Let's rearrange our screen a little bit so we can see some stuff. Okay, so it's time now to hook up the actual sensor. Like I said, what we have to be careful of, they're pretty clearly labeled right here. We've got a VCC, which is going to be your supply voltage. We've got ground, okay, and on either end, trigger and echo, okay. I have a 4-color cable hooked up to it. These colors tend to change a lot. Don't always expect them to be purple, gray, white, and black. They're just peeled off as strips of multicolors, but they'll always be 4 different colors. And what I've done on this end of the cable is I've tethered them together in kind of what I think is a logical way. I have taken the 2 outer, which are the voltage, this voltage and the ground, and I've tied them together here, okay? So this black wire is going to be my ground, and this purple wire is going to be my 5-volt supply. And then the 2 center ones, which hook up the trigger and echo, I have hooked up to another 2 position hood, and this 2 position hood is going to go into 2 separate signal pins. Okay, so let me hook it up to the robot, and I think probably the best thing to do, so you guys can see it, because I can always put this back together. I'm going to clear the deck. I'm just going to pull everything apart so that you guys can really see what the heck I'm doing. Okay. You probably won't do that to your robot, but we'll do it to mine so we can mess around with it and see what's going on. I'm going to just set this here for the moment. Well, actually, I'll go ahead and screw it in, at least partly. Okay. Okay, so I've got it loosely attached. All right. I'm going to put this up here like this so we can kind of see. So, like I said, I've got my ground and my VCC. They're tied together into this 2-filament cable here with the black and the purple, black being ground. So I need to choose any 2 pins that supply power and ground. On my motherboard, that's going to be basically ground pins are all the outer pins, power are all the center pins. I have it set for 5 volts, so I know that I'm going to get 5 volts if I go anywhere between the center and the outer pin. So I'm going to simply put this in way up here in front. Okay, so now it's on the ground and the 5-volt supply pin. I could do it on this side of the motherboard, but then to activate it I'd actually have to turn on and off this switch. This side is going to be on for as long as the USB is connected and the light is on, which you can't see. Let me zoom out just a teeny bit. Alright, so now you can see the light is on. So let me zoom back in. Okay, I'm going to take, it doesn't even matter which of these 2 yet, as long as I can see it. I'm going to plug these into 2 signal pins. I'm going to go to these ones over here on the other side. This side of the board is entirely digital. There's no analog. I could put it on this side, which is analog or digital, but I might want those analog pins for something else. So I'm going to choose to stick it on the digital side. Okay? So now we go back over to our code, and we have to set it up. So this is the example. So all I want to do is see it work. This is real important. Okay? I've called in this example the first instance of this object. Okay, so I've installed a sensor. Now I have to name that sensor. I've called it Echo 1 in my example. I can have multiple sensors, but I called this one Echo 1. This is real important. Okay, 7 and 8. The first one is the echo pin. The second one is the trigger pin. All right, so I need to make sure that these numbers, these 2 numbers reflect the 2 pins that I have it hooked up into. Let's take a look. In my case, the echo pin is the white wire, and my white wire is hooked up to pin 3. Okay, echo pin is going to be pin 3. The trigger pin is the gray wire, and in my case the gray wire is hooked up to pin 2. So I'm going to change this to pin 2. Alright, let's go down our code, make sure we're good. We've got a launch of a serial port. What we're going to do is we're going to call upon the object echo1. This is created here. Okay, and what case I want to do is I want to read the distance in centimeters. It's going to give me a 10 millisecond delay, so we have plenty of time to make sure everything works. Looks like I'm also going to get a read it in inches. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to display centimeters, and I'm going to get my reading and display it in centimeters, and I'm going to get my reading and display it in inches. It's going to put it on a fresh lines, and it's going to delay 500 milliseconds, and this is going to be in an infinite loop. So if all goes well, if I load this up, we should see the bar go across here, which means it uploaded, but doesn't necessarily mean we've got a serial link, so we'll have to watch for that real carefully. And sorry it's taking so long the first time. It always does. First instance. I should actually have paused it. There we go. And let's open up the serial port. Okay, excellent. Let me move this. I'm going to put this up here, up high. And you should see we've got 2 readings coming out, centimeters and inches, and that's probably right. It's aiming up. I'm going to put my hand. Okay. And you can see as my hand, let me zoom this camera out so you can appreciate more that it really is working. Okay, now you actually can see my cluttered dust too. So if I aim this more right at my face and put this right here, alright, it's actually slightly above my head. You can see as my hand gets, you can't see my hand yet, you should see it, there we go, now you can see it. It's getting closer and closer, centimeters and inches, centimeters and inches, centimeters and inches. And eventually, at some point, it just won't resolve it anymore. Well, it's actually doing really well. There, now it's starting to screw up because I'm getting closer, but you see it's going 3 inches. It's really only accurate. It's pretty good to about that last inch, but anything less than that, it starts to mess up. Okay, so hopefully that was informative, and maybe I'll shoot another quick little video of how to actually use it in play so we can affect how the robot works, and I will see you soon.